Happy New Year, everybody. This is your man, Coach Donald Williams, Southern Utah men's assistant basketball coach. We're back on the basketball blueprint for the new year with my man, Rico. Rico, what's good with you, baby?
All good, baby. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, man. We got our special guest with us today, Coach Shaun Gutting, assistant coach for Southern Utah with us. And we're gonna crack up and talk a little bit and have a little fun. What's up, Gutty?
What's up, guys? How we doing? Appreciate you having me on.
Man, it's a blessing. I get to be with this dude every day, so except maybe on Sundays.
Yeah, Rico, you come with the questions, man. I got to answer this dude's questions all the time, man.
I already know, Coach.
I need someone different, man.
I know you sick of them.
The first question is gonna be tell everybody the places you coached at as an assistant and what you did as a head coach when you were coaching at the JUCO level.
Sure, yeah. Been an interesting journey. I mean, I started out as a student manager at Colorado State University, where Tim Miles back in 2005, 2004, or no, wait, I'm sorry, 2007. Dang, man, I'm getting old. I can't even remember years.
Miles.
2000. It was back in the early 2000s, and did that for a few years, graduated, and then I coached 1 year of high school basketball in Colorado, and then I was lucky enough to get an assistant job as a volunteer assistant for James Miller at New Mexico Junior College. Did that for 2 years. Got to coach some high-level players at that, just be involved. I was really a fly on the wall in that situation, just learning as much as I could. And then did that for 5, was an assistant at Casper College in Wyoming for 1, got the head coaching job right after that, and did that for 4 years. So did JUCO for 10 years in total at 2 really big-time national powerhouse type places that was shaped my entire coaching career. Honestly, it's been a hell of a journey up until this point. Been very lucky to have people that have really had my back and helped me get here. Beyond what I had known already from my pops, who was a college coach back in the day and a high school coach. So.
Your pops coached, 35 years?
Yeah, something like that. I lost track of the number, man. I mean, he's approaching 75 this year, so he did it for a long time. He was a coach at Gettysburg College, D3 in the East Coast for a while, and then he did high school for a long time after that.
Nice. Hey, Gutty, he didn't say nothing. I think he trying not to remember when we played them in a jamboree in Colorado. He don't never mention that to nobody.
No, man. The jamborees are for learning opportunities, man.
That's right.
They're learning opportunities. I know one thing. I remember the game very well. I remember looking at the other bench and being like, man, these dudes are blasting us right now. What is going on? That was a learning curve after that one.
I'll never bring it up to him either, man. That's how good of a dude I am, man.
That's the 6th time I've heard it from you, man. What are you
Except for bringing it up right now on air.
Yeah, right.
Where the world can hear it.
Yeah, now it's recorded by people, man. Come on.
Too funny, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, Coach, you brought up Casper, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You clearly done some special things while you were there. Why don't you talk a little bit about the success you had while you were at Casper?
Yeah, sure. Casper, that was a really interesting time period for me to get my first head coaching job. I got it in 2019. My first year was 1920. We were ranked as high as number 7 in the country that year.
Wow.
We had a really good group. I had a couple guys that were coming back from the year before when Dan Russell was the head coach. And then we added in a transfer named David Walker, who was from Canada, who was just an absolute walking bucket. And, a couple other freshmen that came in that really helped us. And we ended up winning 25 games that year. Lost in our regional semifinal in overtime to a guy that the basketball world remembers well from the NCAA tournament, Teddy Allen. It was, if you ask anybody that was at that game, it was at Western Nebraska. It went I think, double overtime. Everybody tells me that was the best game they've seen in person. I hated it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was, I love how fans will always say that, right? They're having a great time watching the back and forth. And I mean, Teddy had 43, I think, and David Walker for us had 47. I mean, it was like just mano a mano. But, as a coach, it was aggravating to go through that.
Right.
But, so we had a really good first year. But then, honestly, we were sitting on the bubble with a small chance to get in the national tournament that year. Probably weren't going to get in. But during that time, COVID hit, and they shut down the entire year. And so my first real off season of recruiting and workouts and program running was COVID as a head coach. That was character building for sure. I mean, that was, everybody always says being a head coach, when you slide 6 inches over to the left into that head chair, it's the loneliest position in the world. Try doing it when you're locked up in the house, and you can't really do anything. It was very interesting, very tough. Got through it. We had an okay year that year, but obviously everybody was finding their own struggles during that year. And then by my last year, which was 2 years later, we lost in the Region 9 championship game to go to the national tournament by 1 point, 1 possession. That one hurts too, but we ended up winning, I think, 23 games that year. So overall had a pretty good success rate there. I mean, on top of all the actual winning and, the program stuff, the thing I was always most proud of was just sending guys on to Division I. I mean, it was the goal, right? I mean, we talked about that from day one. And the good thing, in junior college is you can really get those guys to understand over time all the goals of everybody in the room, in the program match.
Right.
You do it together, you find a way to win, because winners go to play Division I basketball.
Right.
And now, me and Coach Williams being on this side of it too, we're sitting here like, we want winners, man. We want really talented dudes, but we want guys who know how to win. And, it always falls on deaf ears with some of them when you're telling them that stuff. But, man, like when you're coming from a program that gets 20-plus wins, people know you, people respect you, respect your teams, those guys end up being more successful because they plug into Division I programs as winners, not guys who can score 25 a game and that's it.
Right. Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Gutty, talk a little bit about how the whole deal came with Coach Jeter and getting the assistant coach job at Southern Utah. The funny thing is, I got hired right before Gutty, and then Coach was like, Shaun Gutty? And I was like, yeah, I know Gutty, the dude at Casper. He go, yeah. And so I knew Gutty because he's close to a good friend of mine, DeMarlo Slocum, who's at the University of Washington now. And Coach was like, man, well, what you heard about? I was like, I heard he's a good dude, really good coach. He had a lot of success over at Casper, and I know he worked with James. James is his guy. James is at Oklahoma State now as an assistant. And so, talk a little bit about how that came about for you.
It's not that exciting of a story, but it's wild how quick it happened. Yeah. And it's such a testament again. This, and Rico, this, like Coach just talked about how small these circles are in basketball.
Right.
I mean, Donald Williams from Gary, Indiana. I grew up in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Right.
And we know a lot of the same people, right? And how does that happen, right? And so, Coach Jeter, it was really close. It was Brandon Goebel with JUCO Advocate called me out of the blue, and so did Brandon Mason, who is now running ABC Prep in Albuquerque. Just randomly one day, and Brandon Goebel had told me, hey, I've talked to Rob Jeter. He was asking about some names of people, and he had heard your name about, wanting to hire an active head coach right now to bring to the program. And I was like, okay, interesting. Like I know Coach Jeter. I knew through other circles, but we had never actually really known each other. We knew who each other were, because of those circles. And Brandon tells me this, and then Brandon Mason, I remember this. Brandon Mason called me. I hadn't talked to B. Mason probably about 6 months up until that point. B. Mason called me at about 7 a.m. on like a Saturday morning. And I looked at the phone, and I was like, what is this dude calling me this early in the off season for? We ain't got nothing going on. Like, what are you calling me for, man? And I talked to him, and he was telling me about, a couple of players, and he was like, by the way, I talked to Rob Jeter, and, he had mentioned your name, and he was like, I already co-signed it. Like, I told him that'd be a great hire. And, I'm sitting here, I hadn't even talked to Coach yet. And I was, very just grateful that these guys would even consider, saying those positive things about me to him without really any sort of prodding or communication from me. So Coach called me. We were on the phone that day for about 30, 40 minutes talking about basketball and, primarily offense. and just some players. And, at the end of the call, he was like, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm going to call you here in the next, day or two and let you know kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm like, all right, I don't know what, whatever. Like, I know everybody has their process, because at that point it's like, we hadn't met in person yet. We just talked on the phone. And then 24 hours later, he calls me. He's like, I'm going to offer you the job. And I started looking around my house in Casper, and I was like, I got a lot of stuff. Damn. I was like, all of a sudden, you don't realize until you're getting ready to move how much stuff you have, right? I was like, man, I got to get rid of some of this stuff. But really quick. And it just goes to show that the right people, having good relationships with the right people, treating people the right way, and just being a true friend to some people can really, really help you without ways you don't even know that it's going to happen.
Everything's in God's timing, man. I was trying to get on with Coach Jeter when he's at Western Illinois, and people was like, man, just call him. He said, call him.
Yeah.
And he never pick up my call. I was like, man, everybody telling me to call him. And so when this happened, we actually connected and we talked, and we had so many connections. Like, his brother and my god brother hang out in Chicago, which was crazy. And then he worked for Marvin Menzie, who's kind of like a mentor for me that helped me actually get into Division I. Mm-hmm. And so it's crazy how all that worked. And then he was like, man, I'm going to the airport. What school you work at again? I go, I'm in the hood, coach. I'm in Desert Rose. And him and Al pulled up, and we talked outside the school for like 20 minutes. And then he's like, he do the same thing to me. He's like, I'm going to call you probably in 24 hours. He actually called me when he got to the airport. Mm-hmm. And be like, man, I'm offered you a job, man. So let me know what you think. So, of course, I call my wife, and my wife go, well, what you thinking about? I was like, well, Coach told me to think about it. He's like, well, we've been praying about it, so what you thinking about?
Yeah.
So I called him back and be like, man, all good. So it's been great, man. Coach he's an A1 coach, man, but he's an A1 person as a man, so.
I know. I never told Coach this. I mean, he said the same thing to me about thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, I'll think about it. Tried to play it cool and coy. I hung up that phone, and I was like, man, where the boxes at? Let's start packing this up, man.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Coach, talk about a little bit, just to piggyback off of Coach Williams' last question. Mm-hmm. How's it been working for and with Coach Jeter, and what type of mentor has he been to you since you guys have joined forces?
Man, it's a learning experience for sure, because all my experience was directly involved in junior college, and right. I was a student manager at Division I, but you're a fly on the wall at that point too. You're really just kind of trying to soak everything up, but also make sure you're not screwing up.
That's right.
With Coach Jeter, he's been very. I don't want to say hands off, but he's very trusting. And, the reason I'm hiring you is the reason I'm hiring you. So do it, and I'm going to trust you to do it. And then, if you need help, or, you think that we need to do a different route about some things, let's talk about it. Once you're in his circle, man, it's family. It's truly family. And, that's been the best part about this experience. In the junior college, you coach junior college for 10 years year round, you hear, stories, and you want to make sure that when you get the opportunity to be a Division I coach, it's for the right people. It's for the right guy, for your personality. And for my personality, I think Coach is perfect, because he really pushes us to be better, but at the same time, he understands, like, you need to take a break from basketball every now and then. You need to reset. You need to have family time, whatever it is, because it's going to make you better when you come back. And he's, as far as the basketball on the floor stuff, he's as good as it gets when it comes especially to the defensive side of the ball. On both sides of the ball, he's a smart dude. You don't get to do this for 30-some years without knowing what you're doing, and
right.
he definitely knows what he's doing. And some of the little things you learn on the court about ways to guard stuff, ways to approach things, actions, players. It's all a new perspective from what I had before. And they're all things that I'm going to end up taking with me if I ever get lucky enough to be a head coach again.
It's coming. It's coming, Coach. Stay down, baby.
He helps you, man. He teaches you a lot of things. And, I think, like Gutty said, man, he trusts you. So, when you're doing your scout, he'd be like, okay, what do you think? You know, and he already have his thoughts.
Yep.
But he's like, what do you think? And then he let you do your scout, man. And, you know, he'll put some stuff in, of course, but he trusts you, man. Like, when you're doing a scout, he trusts you. When you're recruiting, you know, he trusts you. He trusts your word. Like, you know, every once in a while, coach will be like, "Are you sure about this recruit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm sure." He's like, "I trust you. I trust you. I just want to double check, you know." But he allows you to work, man. And I've been blessed enough to have him, Coach George Nessman, who is one of my mentors at San Jose State. And then I coached back in the day with a dude named Phil Johnson that didn't kind of give you that. He didn't let you do that, but he's a Tim Floyd disciple. So they were very, very hands-on with everything, like, you know. So, but it's a blessing to be with somebody who allows you to be you. And that's the other thing. He allows you to be who you are, you know, and he don't try to change you. And it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
There's not a lot of head coaches, like, especially at this level, that would willingly give, you know, an assistant coach the offense.
Yes.
He like, that was honestly our first conversation was about offense, because our teams at Casper could really score, you know, and that was what we did really well. And that was our conversation first, was like, you know, I want somebody that can come in here and do the offense, and, you know, I'm gonna do my part of it. You know, at the end of the day, it's his program, right? So, like, his name's on it. But, you know, he gives me a ton of freedom that I never would have imagined I would have got, especially at my first job at Division I level.
So I got a question for both of you guys now, because both you guys are on staff, and I need the real spiel. Don't give me no fluff. I need the real spiel. How far do you think you guys will make it this year in the conference?
Oh, man. Come on, Rico.
Come on, baby. Give me the real.
Rico. Come on, man.
Hey, let Don go first. Don, that's for you first.
You go
Don.
first. You go second. You go third. You can go fourth. You can just talk about it.
Well, you know, we're on a losing streak right now. And I look back at, you know, chances, we're right there. I mean, like, we could easily be 11-4, 12-3, instead of sitting at 8-7. But I think, you know, these dudes are learning. Every time I go back and watch film, like, we were so close, even though it ended up being an 11-point game, we were so close to beating Grand Canyon up in Grand Canyon. And just a few things happened defensively where we came back all the way from 13 down to take the lead with like 7 minutes left in the game. And just, you know, kind of fell apart defensively, but during those times you got to make sure you're scoring, and then we wasn't scoring. So I think after the Grand Canyon game, everybody was like, okay, if this is supposed to be the best team in the league, we could go far. So I think right now, Rico, the main thing for us to win a game. You know what I mean? Just to get back on track and just to win a game.
I think, I would say the belief is there. You know, I think the actual numbers and the goals and everything is for the locker room. That's for us. You know, publicly. I mean, I don't know. I'm not big into all that. It's for us, man. We're the ones trying to do it. You know, in our group. But I think the belief is there, and like Coach said, man, our losses for the most part, I mean, all of them have been close. You know, a few mistakes here, a few mistakes there, but we do they need to get a taste of winning again. The thing about it is that you end up the losing. It turns into, well, if we had done this, we would have won. If we had done this, we would have won. This didn't happen. It becomes an excuse, man. It's easy to make excuses at that point, man. Like, we just got to get it done. And I think getting one could lead to a lot. You know, getting one is gonna, because this group does have that. I mean, once they get the taste of one back in their mouth, they'll be like, okay.
Yeah, because you guys had a nice streak going. You guys made history actually at the beginning of the season, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we were 8-2,
4-0,
4-0. And you know, through those things, you know, you can get complacent. And we probably did a little bit, you know, but learning how to become a winner, a real winner, with the daily habits is hard in the middle of a season because of how grinding it is physically and mentally. And
I love it.
These guys are they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to find the way to make sure that they're doing it the right way each day.
Hard stuff is hard. Ain't no way around it. Only way to get past it is through it.
Yep.
I mean, I think sometimes, man, people don't realize how hard it is to win games.
Facts. Oh,
It's hard
Facts.
work to win games, and that's just what it is. No matter how good the opponent is, how bad the opponent is, it's hard to win games. And so I think we can get that first win back on our back belt in the conference. I think we'd be good, and we'll get to rolling again here. I'm pretty confident in this group, and I think they're starting to see things the way they need to see them. So I think it's coming, man. I think it's coming. The last question I have for you, Gutty, is how do you like the staff you work with, man? How has that been the last 2 years, just the staff in general, man?
All jokes aside, this group it's really made the jump from junior college to Division I worth it from a standpoint of personalities between Coach Jeter, Unc. We call him Donald Williams Unc because he the one,
Right.
he the uncle at the barbecue, man. He
OG.
bring the chicken, bring the ribs, bring the he already got something for you. Al, we got a group of guys that don't have any egos, man. Like,
awesome.
egoless. We'll all listen to each other. We might disagree with each other, and believe me, there's some days where there's some arguments in that office, but the arguments aren't real.
Right.
At the end of the day, we all know, like, we all want the same thing. So we're trying to get to the same goal. Our young cats on staff, they're willing to learn, willing to take a back seat, which you have to be able to, because we've all done it. But they all have really good basketball minds, basketball opinions, and they're fun to be around. Tennessee Owens and Braden Lamar drive me absolutely insane, but in a good way sometimes.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
that's but they're kind-hearted people. They mean well, and they want us to be successful, man. Like, we all have the very same goal, and none of us are trying to get out of in the way of that. So I think there's a very open relationship with each other, knowing that we all have the same passion, same goal. And, I think also, like, we all of us believe that we can win. Yeah. I think, that and not just with this team, but, like, even last year, there was, we'd be going into games where, we're on, like, a 6-game losing streak with a new group of guys, and it was like, I still think we can win some of these games.
Right.
Like, there's the belief to win. It at least will make us really work harder and work together all the time.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you know how Unc is, me and Rico. You've been around him. You know how this man acts, man.
If I was in those rooms, me and him will have to fight. As long as we come out in the world so know we love each other, that's how it's gonna have to go down. Because listen, hey, it's passion though. It's when you love what you do, and like you say, the common denominator and the common goal is, we're all trying to win here. We're all trying to help these kids be better men.
Yep.
So that's where the rubber meets the road, and where, usually what like you said, it's not an argument. It's really just, we're trying to discuss the best path, and you're dealing with so many different personalities, egos, all this other stuff,
That's what's amazing about Coach, man. Coach Jeter, like, he'll remind you at times with the way he acts around the guys or for the guys, just his actions with the guys don't even see, is how much he is about helping them.
That's real.
There's times even like where one of us will be in the office and be like, no, we just need to do this, Coach. Like, he ain't with us. And he'd be like, no, he's a part of our program. He's with us. I'm going to figure out a way to get him back. Like, he'll do that stuff. Real. And it's those moments you're like, man, like that. You get a quick reminder of why we're doing this.
Yeah,
right?
That's
It's
right.
easy to get caught up in the wins, losses. We got to do this. We got to do that. Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in that. He'll have a quick reminder of, like, no, why'd you start this in the first place? Why'd you get in on this in the first place? Right.
Shaun, tell everybody how they can follow you, man.
I don't want any stalkers, so I'm on Twitter.
Rico, he say that, but
I know,
he don't
right?
really mean
man.
that.
That's true. Yeah. I'm on Twitter at Coach Gutting. Instagram, same handle. I think I have a TikTok, but I ain't with that. You're not gonna see me on there. So those are the two spots. Mostly anything you'll see either about movies, Denver Broncos driving me crazy, or basketball. That's pretty much it, man. But that's where I'm at.
Love it.
Well, everybody.
Oh, one thing I did want to say though, Rico, just so you guys know, Ulyss, Coach Williams, Coach, your names come up in our office a lot. And it's all positive stuff. I will have you know. It is all positive. But I think that you guys don't realize how much of you is in our program daily. You probably don't even realize it because you're not here. But just know that, your names come up a lot, and our success is tied to you guys just as much as anybody else around here.
I love it, man. We're going to keep doing more. Trust me, I'm talking to OG Ulyss. I call him UP. He's my OG mentor, big brother, business partner, but I've learned so much from him. And, we started off a good thing last year with you guys, and we want to continue it. And we're getting back on path too, so super excited to be a part of it, man. I swear I love what I'm doing, and just this ecosystem that Ulyss has created and allowed me to just be a participant in it. Honestly, it's just, I'm walking in my purpose, bro. So I'm excited. Trust me. Coach Williams, he on my butt about it. Trust me.
Man, don't let him push you around. No, I'll tell you that much, man.
And he big. Hey, Coach, he big. So I gotta let him get his stuff off sometimes. Pause, but
Speaking of pushing around, I know on the last one, Tennessee Owens tried to say that I never put in any of the sets he shows me. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's 100% true. I never put any of them in.
Let's set the record straight.
Yeah, Hey, that's the one thing he was telling the truth about.
I love it.
Well, everybody, we have a game tomorrow night, Tarleton State, 6:00 p.m. Hope people can come out and join us, man. We need to get our mojo back, and the fans do help with that, man. So, all right, Gutty, man, appreciate you. See you in practice in about an hour and 20 minutes.
Thank y'all, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. We got another special guest with us. We have Dr. Cedric Brown, one of the senior ADs here at Southern Utah. And he's over a little bit of everything, but his main baby right now is the academics. And so I'm gonna let him take credit for getting the basketball team to a 3.1. I'm gonna let him take a little credit for that. He was every sport in SUU got over a 3.0, and I think that's the first time it's ever happened. So that's big kudos out to him and his staff. He was a Division I assistant coach. He was a head coach at the JC level. And Rico, he never let us forget that, man. He always come in there telling us what we need to be doing.
As he should.
But when I tell you he's one of our biggest supporters, man, he is one of our biggest supporters. I love him to death. And he can cook a little bit too, man. He can cook a little bit.
Hey, Coach, you got to keep him out your house. If he know you can cook, you won't get rid of him.
Right.
So, Doc B, welcome, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you here, man. My first question for you is, tell us about your coaching career, like Division I level and being a head coach at the JUCO level, and what that was like for you.
Sure. Well, I started at JUCO, started at Parkland College in Champaign, Illinois, under Chris Warren, and then went from there to Division II under Scott Nagy, who was at Wright State, now is at SIU Carbondale, a place where I played college football at. And from there, went with Pat Smith at Trinity Valley. I was with Kevin Jones at Chicago State. I was with Corey Tate at Mineral Area College. So I've been at multiple places, right, and seen all levels of college basketball, from being a JUCO head coach at Lakeland College and being able to turn that program around after taking over from Jim Dudley, rest his soul. He was there with us. He was there for 40 years, and then they brought me in, and then had a great staff and was able to recruit great young men and turn that program around. And by the time I left there in 2014, for the last 3 or 4 years, we were top 25 in the country, Division I JUCO. So, very, very blessed and very fortunate to have an opportunity to be in such a an industry that we help young men. We the famous group is Boys to Men, and that's what we do. We help change boys into men, and we do it our own way. Both you, Coach Williams, and I have children, and so we are constantly trying to mentor and father the young men that we are in charge of. And it's a blessing. Us both being men of faith, it's a blessing to have you and Rob Jeter and Al Hansen and Shaun Gutting and T.O. and Braden as a part of my family, right? Because you have a family that you are born into, and then you have a family that you choose. And I definitely choose you guys, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I'm Pentecostal, so we went to church five times a week. Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, and twice on Sunday. So I appreciate you, though. Thank you.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Love you to death.
I love it. Coach, I did a little research on you, man. You definitely did your thing and been doing your thing as a coach. Obviously, you're sitting in the position you are at Southern Utah now. But why don't you talk a little bit about your playing days, though, man? You did some things.
Right. I played college football at SIU Carbondale. When I transferred from New York City, I was leaving middle school, so I came my last year of middle school to a small town in Southern Illinois called Murfreesboro, Illinois. Played college football there, and I was able to, do my thing and got a scholarship to Southern Illinois University. But in 1989, I broke my neck. I broke C1, and so like a knucklehead, I left school because I was feeling sorry for myself. They told me, my junior year that I would have probably, if I came out, that I probably would have been on specialty teams, got drafted like in the 4th round or something like that, and been a specialty teams player, probably at that time making about $250,000 a year. So I felt sorry for myself, right? And but then I had an opportunity about 9 years later. The Lord blessed me. I was in Indianapolis, and I started playing for the Kokomo Mustangs, which is a team over in Europe. And I was born in Germany on American Air Force Base with my mom and dad in the Air Force. So I had an opportunity to go back to Germany, and I played over there. And then, got sick and tired of being sick and tired, came back to New York, back home, and then I played Division III basketball for Daryl Jacobs, who's an ESPN analyst right now. So that was my former coach. And Joe Meade was my former coach. And I was 28 years old chasing 18-year-olds around Division III basketball. But I kept telling them, they called me old country. I said, listen, man, I'm not chasing you. If the ball's on the strong side and you on the weak side, I'm sitting on the help line. That's where I'm going. I'm not going past that. I'm not getting ready to chase you guys around. But had a great career in college until I got hurt. Had a great career as a pro, as a professional, playing American football over in Europe. And then I said I wanted to be around the game, so I started coaching. And then the career that I'm in now, my mama said, boy, are you going back to get that PhD? And I said, for what? For who gonna pay for it? Who got the money?
Right. Right.
So you know how we are. I'm a mama's boy. That's my
right.
mama. And
That's
I
right.
said, yes, ma'am. I go back. So I went back, and the Lord blessed me in 2021 of April that I received my PhD in organizational development and leadership with an emphasis in sports, fitness, and wellness management. And so you know how God's timing is. His timing is perfect.
Yes.
His will
Yes.
is perfect. And so
Yes.
I never knew where Cedar City, Utah was. I'm a kid from New York City, right? And I grew in
the Bronx, right?
From the Bronx, and then grew up in the Midwest where my mom's from, Champaign, Illinois. But he knew that bringing me here to Cedar City, I was going to meet Coach Williams. I was going to be reunited with Coach Jeter. I was going to meet Al and Shaun and Braden and T.O. And, because they're going to do special things here, right? And they are. I'm the oldest out of all of them. I think I got Coach Williams by 2. I got Jeter by 1, but I'm the oldest one, so I'm big brother, and they all little brother. But I love them, and I respect them so much and what they do. And you know what? We're family because we get into it too. Like we get into, that ain't right. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said it like that. You shouldn't have. And we're all alphas, right? We puff our chests and things like that. And at the end of the day, what I love about it, at the end of the day, we at the very end, we make a phone call. Hey, listen, I got a job to do. You got a job to do, but I love you. And we hang up the phone, and then that next day we get up and we start doing our business all over again.
Like men. Like men supposed to.
Like men. Yes, sir.
Doc B, that doc comes, hey, he might not want to get that PhD, but that doc sound good. Now I bet you will. It be sounding good.
Well,
there's some respect on it.
It's open doors, and even in the spaces that I'm in right now, I have an opportunity to be at tables and be in conversations that I might not have had an opportunity to be in before. And one thing that I've learned, with Coach Williams, with Donald, and with Jeter and things like that, and I never really thought about it. I did it, but I didn't think about it. I bring others through that door with me.
That's the key right there.
And I try to focus on, I try to focus. I let people stand on my shoulders, right? And I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones before me because I'm a disciple of Lou Henson and Jimmy Collins at the University of Illinois and Gene Cady at Purdue. I'm standing on their shoulders, right? I want people to stand on my shoulders, and at the same time, I'm going to stand under people as a servant, as a servant leader, and push them up and elevate them. So it's a good mix, man. It's a really good mix here with me being at Southern Utah and then being around men that understand me, that understand where I come from and what I've gone through,
Yes.
And so I'm enjoying myself being here right now.
It's crazy. We always talk about how small this basketball world is. He mentioned Gene Cady, one of Gene Cady's top assistants and players back in the day, Conzo Martin. We really tight. Matter of fact, I just talked to Zoe the other day.
I know Zoe really well.
But Doc, tell us just about how did this job come about? Are you getting this AD job here at SUU?
Well, I was in Pittsburgh, PA. Never had been in Pittsburgh before, and I was the AD at a tier 1 private school there. And so, and if you don't know, private schools on the East Coast, they have more money than Peter, Paul, and John.
Facts.
Right. So when I walk into this situation, I have a budget of about $1.5 million.
Wow.
And we're doing a whole lot of things there. And then I knew I wanted to get back to the NCAA level, right? Because I was coaching there and hadn't done administration there. Knew I wanted to get back. Doug Newth, who was then at Nevada, had a position open. And so I call. I send my resume in, and he called me, and he goes, hey, Doug Newth, University of Nevada, I want to talk to you about this position. It was about development, right? Getting the money. And I never have a problem asking somebody for money, right? At all. So, but it didn't work out, right? And again, it wasn't God's purpose. It wasn't God's will. It wasn't his timing. Because at that time, they had a change in the president, and then Doug got let go, right? But then within 90 days or so, Doug got this job here, and he was hired in December, and it was announced in December, and he started in January. He called me, and then in April of that next year, he called me. May 16th, I started as a senior associate AD for administration here at Southern Utah University.
Wow. Super dope, man. Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? Because, you think about it, most the path to get to where I am usually starts with you graduating from a school, going to be a graduate assistant, right? Do your undergrad, go to be a grad assistant, and then work your way up in the business. But
Yes.
and again, I don't know, brother, what I've done to be in His will. I know I'm His child. We're all His children, but He has blessed me, truly blessed me, because I went from a high school AD, and now I'm the senior associate AD at Southern Utah University.
Rocket ship, baby. I love it.
So
Yes.
Yep.
I got two questions for you. I'm gonna let Coach Williams take the last. But the question I'll pose to you last, Doc, is talk to us about the landscape of NIL and the world of this transfer portal, right? From your seat that you sit in.
Well, first of all, I wish we can go back to 1986 so I can get some.
Let me get that.
Yeah, let me get my bag. So whoever put together some kind of a lawsuit or whatever, go back to 1986 so Doc B can get some of his, right? But no, I truly believe that the student athletes deserve to have a piece of the revenue. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? That is generating, ungodly amounts of revenue, and our student athletes are blood, sweat, tears, and not being able to get any of that. And big ups to Ed O'Bannon and the O'Bannon brothers for starting, something. Well, it was started before them, but they were bigger names and things like that coming out. That we are here now in 2024. 2025, and that we are having opportunities for student athletes to do that. Now, I think I had this conversation with Shaun Gutting, who was just on the show, and then with Don. We're all JUCO guys, right? Big JUCO guys. And the portal, all the portal is JUCO, right?
Your world.
That's it, because our kids, JUCO, come to us unhappy. Then they leave and go somewhere else. They don't have to sit. Or you recruit one, and then that young person goes to somewhere else, and you say, okay, well, I'll see you in December. Because everybody thinks the grass is green on the other side.
Right.
But what I said to Coach Jeter is I said that sometimes we have to, because I used to recruit young men one and done that had grades, right, but didn't have the recruitment that they wanted. I said, so come play for me for a year. Let's go win a region championship. Let's go to Hutch. And then after that, and I told him, I promise you, you'll have coaches in the gym. Kevin O'Neal when he was with USC, Bruce Weber when he was with Kansas State. Have all those guys in our gym, and somebody's going to find you, and somebody's going to offer you a scholarship. And it's the same thing now. I feel if I was a head coach now, I would recruit a young man. Listen, I understand where we at. I know what the climate is. I'm not going to fool you. You don't fool me. You come, you play well, and somebody want to offer you more money, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm going to help you, right? I prefer you stay with me. Let's stay with me. Let's build something. Let's get to this NCAA tournament. Let's go make some noise. Let's hopefully go and be one of those Cinderellas that's at the Final Four and all that type of stuff. Let's go make history. But if we don't, and you want to go do that, I understand, because you have a family, a mom, a dad. If they're married and they have children, they have a wife, they have children, you have somebody you have to go take care of. And I just think that especially people like Donald Williams and people like Rob Jeter and Al Hansen and Shaun Gutting, they understand the assignment. So if we get this collective here at SUU to also understand the assignment, there's going to be some things going on in Cedar City, Utah.
Facts.
The AFEC will be packed. It will be packed. And we will be competing for WAC championships year in, year out, be in the NCAA tournament. And, and that's what we should be, because we have a quality staff under Rob Jeter. Yes, sir.
Agreed. Fun fact for you guys real quick, Coach Williams, before you pose your last question. And Doc, I don't know if you know this, but Cyber Athletics, we are a part of trying to be a part of the solution to that collective situation there in Southern Utah. We've already started trying to do some things here and there. We're going to do more But to your point, when you brought up the Ed O'Bannon case and you brought up NIL and who's responsible, this is a proud moment for me because my business partner in cyber athletics, my mentor, my big brother, my OG, he was on the Ed O'Bannon case. He was a lawyer on part of the legal team.
There you
so
go.
I love telling people that, my partner, my OG big brother was a part of the reason that these kids, that what they can do today, he was a part of that becoming true.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know if Coach Williams knew that.
Absolutely. And so let me give you a fun fact too, little bro. So everybody knows in athletic training of a technique called the Graston technique, right? The Graston technique is a technique that they are able to massage scar tissue, right?
Yes.
So in 1993, I was between 1990 and 1993, I was in Indianapolis, Indiana. I was playing indoor football, flag football, indoor, and I tore my Achilles tendon. Well, I was also the assistant manager at Bally's Total Fitness there in Indianapolis on Pike Plaza Road on 38th Street. And Dre, who used to be a football player at University of Indiana, and then David Graston were the ones that developed this technique. They got in contact with a doctor at Ball State. They did a handshake with the doctor at Ball State. He took all of their proprietary information and everything. And now David and Andre don't have, but I was a guinea pig for that. Fun fact.
Wow.
I was a guinea pig for the
Crazy.
Graston technique. That is millions and millions of dollars right now. So, fun fact.
Yeah, I got a few last questions for you, Doc, before we get out of here.
Sure.
One is you talk about the staff, but talk about your thoughts on Coach Jeter and our staff.
Well, I'll tell this, and I'll tell it without getting emotional. Rob Jeter and I have been friends for more than 15 years. When I was a young pup, about 19 or 20 years old, I had a son, and my son was really taken away from me and given up for adoption. Fast forward the story. That son, my son, played at UW Milwaukee on the soccer team. Well, I called Boudreaux, coach's assistant at that time, and I said, Chad, hey, there's a young man there named Rob Boyd. Can you get in contact with him for me, please? And he goes, yeah, why? I said, that's my biological son. And then he told Rob, and then Rob moved heaven and earth to work with him because he knew that, I knew my son. My son knew me, but he was like, listen, I don't know what the situation is, but your father, Cedric Brown, is a good man. And if you feel like you want to meet with him or whatever, you want to give a number or whatever, I can facilitate that. And Rob Jeter is the reason why my son, Dr. Robert Boyd, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that we have a relationship right now, and I'm about to have my second grandchild next month because he and my daughter-in-law, Elena, got married, and it's because of Rob Jeter. So, like I said, we're close. We get into it, but let somebody say something bad about Rob Jeter.
That's right. Family business is family business.
Right. Yep. So that's the relationship, and and that's not even the coaching stuff, right? That's not coaching or anything. That's just the personal side for me and Rob. So,
and you could tell the truth about Coach Williams. You don't like him. I can tell.
Nah, that's my guy. We sit down and we have grown up conversations, right?
Real.
Around the business and things like that, and actually, Coach Williams is a blessing here. His journey isn't like most other coaches' journeys, in and out, and not sure that he was going to be a part. And then come up on Rob Jeter, and when I talk to Rob, Rob's like, he's invaluable. He is invaluable because he's a grinder. He's a worker. You know what I'm saying? Now, You know, his
Yes.
playing days are far from over. He walking around with them, with them knees that, like them Sanford and Son knees that he got.
Knees and back, boy. I tell you.
And the back, but the brain, the mind for the business, and the heart for the dedication for the young men
Yes.
is still going strong like a teenager. So that's why we
100%.
love and appreciate it, man.
Now,
I love it.
I know you're gonna get once we get this YouTube and this feed, that you're gonna send it out to people. So I want you to give a shout out to your niece and your daughter because they're killing it in hoop right now. He has a niece playing at Indiana State, and his daughter plays high school basketball, and she's a sophomore and she's on the varsity.
Right.
And they're both killing it. So I want you to give a shout out to both of them.
So I got to give a shout out, first of all, to my baby, Cheyenne Marie Phyllis Brown. She's a sophomore, 5'9.5" at Valparaiso High School, averaging just under 10 points a game as a sophomore. If you ask my baby what position you play, she said, I'm positionless, right?
I love it.
And, very humble young lady, very, I'd like to see her be a little bit more aggressive. We talk almost daily about practice and ball and things like that. And then a shout out to my niece, Denia Jacobs at Indiana State, doing her thing, her freshman year. Wanted to get her here, but, that's not I don't get the last call on that. So she would have came where Uncle Sid was at and would have balled out. But Cheyenne is doing her thing there. She's a great student. She's a better person. And to see my baby grow up and become a young woman is phenomenal, and it's a blessing from God. And I give him all the praise for that.
Hey, his daughter in the good part of Indiana, he said Vapo. She crossed over to Gary, boys. We might have to go down to Gary, but she needs to stay right in Valpo. Don't go no further than Maryville.
Yeah, well, but if she ain't gonna have no problem down there because she get along with everybody. There's great folks in Gary. You know what I'm saying? They're great folks there, hard working,
absolutely
hard working. They and they give you their all, and they're gonna give it to you 100, right? So,
man, I just want to ask just two last things. I want to ask you. Who taught you how to cook, man?
Well, I have to give that to Verna Roseman and my mother, Patricia Ann Brown, because again, I was a mama's boy, and before my uncle, rest both of their souls, my uncle Greg and my uncle David, before they came and got me and started roughing me up and stuff like that, I would be in the kitchen around my mom and my grandma say, "Come here, boy, stand on the chair and get this paper." And people know to get this newspaper and lay this newspaper down and peel them potatoes. And Grandma, I don't want to peel them potatoes. Boy, peel them potatoes. And then by the end of it, she taught me how to, take those potatoes, make mashed potatoes or make au gratin potatoes or whatever the case may be. And so I just continued to do that. And then my uncle, I have an Uncle Laverne, who is, he was the single one until he met my Aunt Jeannie, right? He's a single one, and he said, "Man, if you learn how to cook, you'll always have one of the young, cute ladies around you if you learn how to cook." So,
My daddy said the same thing.
So I learned how to cook, for myself, and then, I've been married. I'm married now to my wife Linda, and she's a very good cook as well, and so I got her with some of my dishes too, but she got me with that buttermilk fried chicken, boy. Let me tell you, my wife is Italian as Italian can be, but she hit me with that buttermilk fried chicken and the mashed potatoes and the corn, and she knew how I like it. She put the corn inside the mashed potatoes, and I said, "I do."
I love it.
Doc Brown, tell everybody how they can follow you, and then talk about your podcast real quick. But just let everybody know how you can follow you and that you got your own podcast.
I have a podcast called From the AD's View, and it's on my YouTube channel, Dr. Cedric M. Brown. You can see that there. And if you want to get in contact with me, you'd like to be a guest on the show, it's at fromtheadsview@gmail.com is my email address for the show. But it's a show that I do that has just it's not affiliated with my university or anything like that. It's just me because I want people to be able to come on the show and talk about what they want to talk about. And listen, everybody, they get their own voice, right? I've had people talk politics. I've had people talk religion. I've done all that. But I just tell them, hey, it's a safe space. Come and talk. And it's, called, From the AD's View with Dr. Cedric Brown. And it's a blessing. So if anybody watching this would like to come on, like I said, From the AD's View at gmail.com, and come holler at your boy.
I love it. I just followed. Yes.
So, man, I appreciate you, Doc B, for being here.
You know I
Again,
got
everybody.
you, bro.
We have a basketball game tomorrow night.
Yes.
Tarleton State, 6
Yes.
p.m. Please come out and support us. We will be back next Wednesday, with another couple of special guests. This is the Basketball Blueprint, and we out, baby.
We out.
All right.